Welcome to Travel with the Backpacking Housewife podcast. I'm your host, Janice Horton. Welcome to episode 10. This week, I've been reading lots of travel news updates and doing lots of research on UK and global travel trends for this summer and also for next year in 2022, when we hope that the pandemic will be more under control and we can all safely travel again. I've published my findings on my website at thebackpackinghousewife.com in a post entitled Travel Trends in the New Future of Travel, which will also be the subject of next week's travel podcast. But this week, I wanted to finalise my series of travel posts and podcasts on the subject of my home country of Scotland by discussing and raising your awareness to a campaign that's been set up to coincide with the reopening of tourism in Scotland. It's a campaign called Scotland is Stunning. Let's keep it that way. And it's been set up by Zero Waste Scotland in partnership with the Scottish Government. The initiative, backed by the wonderful comedian Jane Godley, and now of course the Backpacking Housewife too, aims to encourage people who visit Scotland, whether it's our cities or our fabulous open spaces, to bin their litter or to take it home. And the reason I so keenly wanted to talk with you about this campaign and to draw it to your attention is for three very important reasons, all of which I discovered while doing the aforementioned research on new travel trends. First of all, it's being reported by ABTA, that's the Association of British Travel Agents, that due to all the uncertainties about travel abroad this summer, there has been a significant rise in people looking to book a staycation this year. And apparently 70% of us are now planning to take a holiday in our home country during the summer of 2021. Secondly, it's also being reported that there has been a seismic shift in people's preferences for a staycation this year. And those who would normally choose to go to a beach destination are now choosing lakes and mountains and countryside instead. Travel trends are reflecting our need for open spaces and to connect with nature in the fresh air, with hiking, wilderness tourism, wellness retreats, yoga and spa retreats. Even celestial escapes, which combine a sense of space with the opportunity for stargazing. And thirdly, and most significantly for those of us who live here in Scotland, it's being reported by travel agents that half of UK bookings are now people wanting to come to Scotland, with the Scottish Highlands proving especially popular this year. Of course, that's fantastic news for Scotland and for the Scottish tourist industry. However, here in Scotland, there is currently concerns that with more people visiting, there is also more potential for littering and for our litter problem to get worse. A study by Zero Waste Scotland, an environmental organisation funded by the Scottish Government and European Regional Development Fund, has shown that most Scots, that's 89%, already see litter as a problem in their local area. And a third of the population in Scotland say that they have seen an increase in littering since the start of the pandemic. Scotland is a beautiful country. It is, in fact, stunning. But clearly, litter and fly tipping is a problem here. I live in the beautiful Scottish countryside, in a village on the banks of the River Nith, famous as a salmon and trout fishing river, and I too see that littering is an issue. We have a main trunk road going through our village, and for some reason many drivers think it's perfectly okay to throw their rubbish out of their cars and onto the side of the road, and onto the grass verge, where, unless it's picked up by someone, it invariably blows straight into the river. I've often paused while walking over a bridge to look down at the river flowing by, to watch the ducks and the fly fishermen, only to see an empty and discarded plastic soda bottle floating by, and I will admit that it both frustrates and angers me to see that. To me it seems selfish and unnecessary. Not only is littering a criminal offence, it's unsightly and it's harmful to the environment and to wildlife. So what can we do about it? To answer that question, I've invited Claire Munro from Zero Waste Scotland to tell us more about the Scotland is Stunning campaign and what we can all do to be a part of it. Claire, welcome to Travel with the Backpacking Housewife podcast.
I'm delighted to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
I've mentioned the recent research done, which has revealed that the problem of littering and fly tipping in Scotland has escalated since the pandemic. But why is this happening, do you think?
Well, first of all, the survey is about people and what they thought. So people's perceptions are that litter has got worse since the pandemic. I should also say it's not a problem that's exclusive to Scotland, but I think, yes, there's definitely lots of evidence that littering and fly tipping have got worse throughout the periods when we were in lockdown. And when we've had a wee bit more freedom, but still not able to do all the things we normally would. And we think there's a few things behind that. So the fly tipping issue really probably goes back to when household recycling centres were shut, and there were fewer options for what to do with these large and bulky items. But that's more for something. It's not so much a visitor issue. So the Scotland is Stunning campaign, which you mentioned, we're really targeting people who are spending time outdoors, and particularly in rural areas or green areas that would normally, in different situations, be doing something else. So at the moment, you've got soft play centres are closed, festivals are not happening, gigs where a lot of young people would often go and spend leisure time. Instead of that, people might be, say, pitching a tent on the banks of Loch Lomond and inviting all their friends instead. So immediately you've got two problems. You've got more people spending more time outdoors, and you've also got people who maybe aren't as used to the countryside, maybe don't know the countryside code, maybe don't know that there's not going to be as many bins as there might be in urban areas, and they maybe don't think ahead about what they're going to do with their rubbish. Also you've got, which is good, is lots of businesses opening up and selling food, but for a long time you couldn't sit in a lot of places, but they were doing takeaway. So again, you've got a risk of a wee bit more packaging getting out there into the environment. So for all those reasons, and we knew there was going to be a boom in staycations. Last summer, there was a huge boom in people taking holidays at home. We wanted to get out in front of the issue this year and just give a really positive message to let people know to think ahead.
Yes. So sheer numbers of people coming to Scotland is an issue, but it's one that you're ahead of in the game with the infrastructure that's being provided, and really arming people with the information they need as to really to prevent littering, just to give them a little bit of an inclination as to what Scotland expects of them when they come along to the beautiful sites.
I was just going to say, yeah, absolutely. Hopefully we are, and we are working with, other partners, like Visit Scotland as well, just with that focus on responsible and sustainable tourism, because everybody wants to encourage people to come.
Of course, yes, wonderful. I see that the Scotland is Stunning campaign conveys an upbeat and positive message rather than showing people the ugliness caused by litter. You're instead showing the unspoilt Scottish landscapes in your promotional photos and videos. And I love the videos, by the way, and I think Jane Godley is wonderful on them. Do you feel this positivity is a more effective way to get this message across?
Yeah, we absolutely do feel a positive message is more effective. And when you're trying to change people's behaviour, you really want to give them an aspiration, something to work towards. We also know we've done a lot of research on the topic of litter, and we know that actually showing litter can sort of slightly perversely encourage litter. So it kind of normalises it. So we try and avoid depicting litter in any way, because it almost makes it seem more normal, whereas you depict something positive, which is what we all want to aspire to, an unspoilt view, as you say. We found that more effective. And when we ran the campaign last year as well, the feedback that we got, we did a sort of survey of people who participated, and the feedback we got is that using those images in their communities got a really good response from people.
Yes, I can see how that, it's entertaining as well, because you've got all these wonderful landscape visions, and then you've got the little arrow where Hamish was, and because he took his litter home, it's unspoiled, and I think that's wonderful. So do you have any top tips or advice for people who are out and about in Scotland as to what they can do with their rubbish?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, first of all, one tip is if you know you're going to be out for the day, you could think ahead and bring a picnic, perhaps in reusable tubs. You could bring your water in a refillable water bottle. Increasingly, there's top-up taps out there as well that you can fill up your water from. But if you are obviously going to be, you're going to need to, you're maybe going to have some rubbish that you're going to need to take home with you. Don't expect there to be a bin, first of all. Out with, kind of parks and town centres and city centres, you might not have a bin that near you. So if there is a bin, great, use it, do bin your litter, but bring a bag with you, a wee backpack or something like that, just so that you've always got somewhere to put the rubbish. And, if you're able to take the stuff with you, you should be able to take it back again. It shouldn't be too difficult.
Thank you so much to Claire, our guest from Zero Waste Scotland, for coming on to the Travel with the Backpacking Housewife podcast and telling us more about the Scotland is Stunning campaign. You can follow the campaign on social media and watch all the fabulous videos showing a litter-free Scotland, and I'll be putting those links in the show notes and the transcript for you. Clearly the message is, please bin your litter or take it home, including tents, barbecues and empties after your woodland adventure. Only leave footprints on our beautiful beaches. Keep our parks looking pretty for everyone to enjoy. Keep our hillsides looking their best for everyone. And enjoy our lovely lochs and keep them litter-free. Scotland is stunning. Let's keep it that way. And, in the words of the wonderful Jane Godley, whom I absolutely adore impersonating our First Minister Nicola Sturgeon, you've been told. Thanks for listening to this week's podcast at Travel with the Backpacking Housewife. I'd love to hear from you if you're planning a staycation in Scotland this summer and looking to spend time in the fresh Scottish air, so please do get in touch. You can email me through my contact page on my website at thebackpackinghousewife.com, or you can get in touch through my social media channels. I'm on Facebook as The Backpacking Housewife. I'm on Instagram as Janice Horton Writer. And if you're on Twitter, please do tweet me to tell me about your Scottish travel plans at Janice Horton. That's JANICEHORTON. And come and travel with me here on Travel with the Backpacking Housewife podcast. Subscribe and follow for inspiring and informative new episodes each week, in which I'll be discussing ways to plan for and to prioritise travel and adventure in our lives and in our new future, in what is set to become a new and golden age of travel.